when you are working on problems like this one on 8-1, it is probably a good idea to do a line and add, making sure that you've got things in the right spot, okay? On number 8 was a little bit tough as well. People had problems with that because what do I do with my 4x squared? Make sure that you just include it in your answer. There's nothing to add it to. There's nothing to add your 3y squared to either. So just bring it down, okay? So be careful in that. All right, so that was adding. Now we're going to do subtracting. Where is my? There we go. So for subtracting, I have got 3y plus y cubed minus 5 plus 4y squared minus 4y plus 2y cubed plus 8. What kind of polynomial is this? Monomial, binomial, trinomial, what is it? Trinomial. Why? Because there's a plus and a minus, there's 3 terms, 3 monomials, right? What kind is this? I had to classify that. The second one, polynomial. Everybody sees that, yes? Okay. So, you can, another way you can do this is group your like terms. Okay, that's what we talked about a little bit in the last one. So we can group our like terms, or we can do that align and add. Okay? So that is just an addition problem. If you were going to do that, you would we're not going to actually do that. Okay. When I am looking at these problems, if I have this negative 3 on the outside here, what do I need to do with that negative 3? And? Okay, just the 2x squared?
No, and also x and also 5.
Okay, so multiply that in. What's that called again? Distribute. And I affectionately call these rainbows, right? So I'm going to distribute that in. What am I going to get for an answer for that? If I were to do that, what would I get for an answer for that? For that first one, what did you get? Somebody. Or minus 3x. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What did you get for the next one?
Negative 8x squared plus 4x minus 2.
What did you get for the last one? Okay. I specifically would like to talk about this last one. What do you notice about the original trinomial and the new trinomial? They have what? Okay. This here, what would we say? This is related to this how? It's the opposite. Exactly. So when I multiply by this imaginary negative 1, I have made this the opposite, right? And I had to make all 3 terms opposite. Yes? Okay? When we are doing subtraction, we are going to not subtract. Remember, we always want to talk about adding, and I've always said we always want to be adding. So before I add, I have to make this my opposite back here. Okay? So I have to change my 4 to my negative 4, my 5 to a positive 5, my 3 to a negative 3, And then I can add those together because I've essentially distributed in that -1. When I just make that back behind the minus sign, just behind the minus sign, I can change my signs because I've distributed that -1 in just like I did here. Okay? So here I distributed this -1 in because it was in front of the trinomial. Here is this -1. Everybody look up here because this is important to look at while I'm talking. Is this -1 that's represented by this minus sign going to affect anything in this trinomial? No. I am not going to change any signs up here because it's everything after it. Remember, we always do math left to right. So the minus sign only affects what's behind it. And now I've got all kinds of red marks on here that I want to get rid of. I'm going to change them to black. So I've got negative here, positive there, and a negative here when I change that to a plus sign. Okay? It is a fast way of distributing that -1 in. Yes? Okay? So I can very easily do that, and then I can align and add. I've got 3. I've got -2x, and I've got plus 2x squared here. What's going to go under my 3? What am I going to add to my 3? Positive 5, right? Right? It's a positive 5 because I changed the sign of it when I distributed my -1 in. -4x and -3x squared. Okay? What am I going to get for an answer? Figure that out really quick. Plus 5 is? -2 plus -4 is? -6x, right? Make sure you have your x, because that is the reason I can add those together. 2 plus -3? -1x squared. Fantastic. Typically, we would rewrite that in order, but I'm not going to mark it wrong. So normally, you would want this part first, so x squared, x, and then the constant, but it's okay if it's backwards. All right? Does that make sense? Jay, did you have a question, or did you just hit your arm over your head? All right. So that is aligning and adding. I think for subtraction, it's easier. Make sure that you don't change your sign of anything in front. Okay? Here's number 1. My first step is to get rid of that minus sign. Okay? The number 1 error you make, look up here. The number 1 error you make is you do this, you change that sign, you change that sign, and for some reason you don't change the sign of the first term. Make sure if there are 3 terms in there, you have to make 3 marks in your polynomial. This doesn't include a mark, okay? So technically you have to make 4 marks. You have to change it to a plus sign and then make a mark in every term that's in there. If there's 4 terms in there, you need to make 5 marks. 4 plus the 1 to change the minus sign, all right? Now, what's going to go under my 7p? Positive 9p. What's going to go under my 4p cubed? Okay. No, why not? Nothing is. I don't have another p cubed over there. So you can throw your minus 3p squared in front. Okay? And then what's gonna go under your negative 8?
2.
What kind is that?
Negative 2.
Negative 2. So make sure you don't lose your negative. What's your question, Nadia?
What if you got two unlike terms?
Like this one? Like here's an unlike term and here's an unlike term? You just leave it like that and then you add going down. So there's negative 3p squared. That is not a 3. Wow.
That is
That was a 2. It's only supposed to be a 3. I wrote a 2.
no. I was looking at the thing. I was about to say that those are like terms, but I looked at the previous one.
Okay. The 7p and the 9p, what am I going to get?
Negative 2. Or.
Wait, so
I'm adding. Remember, I changed it to an addition problem. Right? Plus 16p. Okay. Do I have another 4p cubed?
No, but
Nope.
just keep it.
So just bring it down. It's positive, so I make it positive. And then
6.
minus 10. Where did I confuse you, Nadia? Just brought them down. Because there's nothing to add to them. Here's one of them.
So do it
And here's the other
back.
one. Technically speaking, you want to have the cubed in front. So if you're in Algebra 2 class, you would rewrite this like this. Because then it's all, Nadia, to answer your question. For this class, I'm not going to worry about order. But if you're in Algebra 2 when you're a junior, you're going to want to rewrite it like this so that it's in order.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So whatever the highest exponent is, goes first. Okay?
Basically, this one you just like change the sign for the second.
You change the sign in the second polynomial. You make an addition because we always want to add and just think of our minuses as negative numbers.
Changing the sign.
Changing the signs, but only behind it.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So why don't you guys try 2 and 3? Okay, for number 2, I got 6x cubed minus 4x squared plus 6x minus 2. If you have them in a different order, that's okay, as long as the negatives are negatives and the positives are positives.
What you do wrong?
Do you have any questions on that problem? 6x cubed, negative 4x squared, plus 6x minus 2. Any questions on that problem? At least which one do you have? Which term do you have wrong? Huh?
She got up to the 4x and then after she got the rest wrong.
Okay.
I get it.
So 6x doesn't have a like term, so that's just going to come down. And then negative 4 has a negative 2 to go with it, and we're going to add those. Nope. That's going to turn into a positive 2. So negative 4 plus 2. Okay? But 6x doesn't have a like term to add to it. Yes?
Yes.
Everybody good? Okay. That next problem, I got y cubed minus 4y minus 17 plus 5y squared. Again, if you have a different order, that's okay.
Wait.
Which one do you have a question on?
Wait.
Paula, which term?
Y.
This? Y
Yeah.
cubed or y?
That one.
This one?
I did. How do you get negative 4y?
Okay. Well, you changed this to a plus sign.
Yeah.
Negative 7 plus y cubed
And negative
minus 12y.
Uh-huh.
So my negative 12y would go under my 8y. 8y plus negative 12y is going to give me negative 4y.
Oh, it's because
That's
I
not
accidentally put negative 2y instead of negative 12.
Yep. Right. The right number is going to help. Okay. Any other questions on 1, 2, and 3? Any other questions on 1, 2, and 3? All right. Do your worksheet, please.